So former President Joe Biden's physician, Dr. Kevin O'Connor, briefly appearing before the House Oversight Committee today after being subpoenaed by the committee's chair. This is as part of a Republican-led investigation into Biden's mental fitness and use of a presidential auto pen while in office. O'Connor leaving the Capitol after declining to answer the panel's question. His lawyer saying in a statement the doctor asserted physician-patient privilege as well as his Fifth Amendment right. So for more, I want to bring in our ABC News correspondent, Jay O'Brien, who's there in our Washington bureau. So first of all, Jay, what are lawmakers essentially trying to learn here? And what do we know about what happened behind closed doors? Any readout?
Well, look, this is the Republican-led House Oversight Committee's investigation. It's the same committee that conducted a number of investigations into President Biden's family business dealings when Biden was in office. Remember, this is the committee that's run by James Comer, and it's got those like Marjorie Taylor Greene on it, et cetera, et cetera. Now, what this committee has said it's looking into is recent reporting on Biden's abilities while in office and his age and his ability to do the job as president. And they've also factored in this conversation, as you mentioned, of the auto pen into this. This is something that President Trump brings up repeatedly, what he says were presidential documents, et cetera, that were signed by what the president says is the auto pen versus President Biden's own hand. It's worth pointing out a lot of presidents have used the auto pen. President Trump used it in his first term and has used it in this term as well. But that is what the committee is looking into. But the big headline coming out of this today, Kana, is this notion that President Biden's doctor, who appears before the committee under subpoena, doesn't answer any of the panel's questions because first he asserts physician-patient privilege, meaning that he can't divulge a patient's personal information as a physician. And he also asserts his Fifth Amendment constitutional right against self-incrimination. So the panel doesn't get anything out of Dr. O'Connor today, but it's not going to be the end of their investigation here.
Well, you bring me to my next question. It's not the end. So what is the next step, Jay?
Well, we know that there are a number of other high-level Biden aides, some of whom are in his closest orbit, who have also been subpoenaed to testify before this committee. They include both former White House chiefs of staff, Ron Klain, Jeff Zients, et cetera, and also Biden's inner circle, like Steve Ricchetti, like Anita Dunn, et cetera, those who were close by him in his years in the Oval Office. Again, right now, these testimony, if they occur, and if there are actually Q&A and back and forth, they would be behind closed doors. That's also how this committee conducted some of the initial testimony when it was looking into President Biden's family business dealings and onwards. But there is a possibility that if this committee is ultimately really able to uncover anything, or if they just think that they've uncovered something, they might have some of this testimony take place in an open kind of a hearing before television cameras. We just don't know yet. It's worth pointing out here, by the way, at the time the Biden White House and now President Biden and the former First Lady assert that there was no cover-up, that there was no inability to conduct the job of president, as some recent reporting has claimed and some in Biden's own inner circle have somewhat intonated. But nonetheless, the committee will continue its investigation, and possibly we might see some of this testimony at some point in the public view.
Interesting. All right, Jay O'Brien, our thanks to you as always.